Exercise 7A-1, we're going to calculate OT pay, which means overtime pay, gross pay, and then biweekly earnings. So calculate the total wages earned for each hourly employee, assuming an overtime rate of 1.5 over 40 hours. So we've got some hourly employees, and then later we will have some salaried employees. But we're going to do the hourly employees first. So this first employee, Lindsay Lane, gets paid $8 an hour and worked 36 hours. So how are we going to calculate her regular hours? Her regular wages. So regular wages means the wages 40 hours and under. Anything over 40 hours would be considered overtime wages. So since she worked less than 40 hours, all of her wages will be regular wages. So obviously, to calculate hers, we're just going to take $8 per hour times the 36 hours gives us $288 of regular wages. So we put 288. I'm going to tab over on my keyboard, 288. Next, we've got Frida Walker. So Frida gets paid, here's Frida over here, she gets paid $14 an hour, and she worked 40 hours, which means she worked 2 hours of overtime. So we're going to calculate the first, we're going to calculate her regular wages first, which means 40 times 14. So 40 hours times 14 gives us $560 of regular wages for Frida. 560. And then for her overtime wages, we first have to calculate her overtime rate. So to calculate her overtime rate, we take her regular rate of $14 per hour times 1.5. So her overtime rate is $21 per hour. Then we take the $21 overtime rate times the 2 hours of overtime gives us $42 of overtime wages. We then add 560 plus 42, we get 602. And then for Lewis Jones worked 52 hours at $19 an hour. So we first calculate the first 40 hours. So 40 hours times 19 gives us 760 of regular wages, 760. So for the overtime wages, we have to calculate Lewis's overtime rate. So we take his $19 regular rate times 1.5 gives us $28.50 per overtime hour. We then multiply that by the 12 overtime hours. How did I get 12 overtime hours? 52 hours minus 40. So Lewis's overtime pay is $342. So we're going to add 760 plus 342. We get 1,102. I'm going to check my answer. You can't see my check my answer button. Next, we're going to calculate the total biweekly earnings of these newly hired salaried employees. So these salaried employees are paid a flat fixed rate. And what is that flat fixed rate? In other words, they don't get any overtime. They get to work overtime, but they don't get paid extra for working overtime. So John Smith is paid $35.75 monthly. But how often are these people actually paid? These people are paid bi-weekly. So now, when you get hired as a salaried person, they often will give you a monthly rate or an annual rate. But that doesn't mean you're paid monthly or paid annually. That's just what they tell you when they have the job posting or the job offer. So these people are actually being paid bi-weekly. So our first task is to figure out how many weeks, or excuse me, how many paychecks are there in a year. If they are bi-weekly, employees are paid bi-weekly, that means they're paid every 2 weeks. So how many paychecks in a year for them? Well, we take 52 weeks divided by 2 gives us 26 paychecks per year. So what we're going to do with this monthly salary, we're going to convert it to an annual salary and then divide by the number of pay periods in a year, which is 26. So here's how I do that for John Smith. Step 1, we're going to calculate his annual salary. So we take the $35.75 per month. Remember, this is a monthly salary. Times 12 months gives him $42,900 per year. So to determine his bi-weekly earnings, we divide that by the number of pay periods in a year, which we discovered up here is 26. So 42,900 divided by 26 gives us $1,650 of salary per biweekly pay period. So his is $1,650. Next, we've got Jane Doe. Jane Doe gets paid a lot, $74.75. So our first task is to calculate how much is that per year. So take $74.75 times 12 months gives us $89,700 per year. We divide that by the 26 pay periods, and that gives us $3,450 per biweekly pay period. 3450. Check our answer. Excellent. All right, so the hourly pay is pretty much straightforward, but students do get confused with the biweekly, converting a monthly salary to biweekly earnings. So make sure you understand that process.